World stops. Filipino singers. Elvis, voice makes Simon Cowell freeze on AGT 2025. The moment the stage lights dimmed, a hush spread across the buzzing AGT arena. Backstage, 22-year-old Marco Reyes stood completely still, gripping his old, slightly faded microphone charm, something his late grandfather had given him. For years, Marco had sung on the sidewalks of Manila, not for fame, not for applause, but to raise money for his grandmother's medicines. And now, somehow, he was stepping onto one of the biggest stages in the world. As the announcer called his name, his heartbeat thudded like a drum. He wasn't sure if he was ready, until he remembered the words his grandfather used to whisper, "Kindness makes you strong, Anik. Sing as if you're giving, not taking." Marco walked out, overwhelmed by the ocean of faces. The judges looked up. Sophia smiled kindly. Heidi waved. Howie leaned forward with curiosity. And Simon Cowell, sat with his arms crossed, unreadable as stone. Marco took a slow breath. When he introduced himself, his voice trembled, but he spoke with sincerity. "I'm here, not to be famous. I'm here for my family. My grandmother is sick, and music is how I help her. I hope tonight, I can give something good." For a moment, the arena softened. The world felt smaller, closer. The music started. Those iconic, velvety Elvis notes, and Marco transformed. His voice carried a warmth so familiar and yet so powerfully his own. In the very first line, the audience gasped. Something magical happened. Simon Cowell froze. His arms dropped to his sides, his jaw slightly open, eyes wide in disbelief. Marco didn't see any of this. His eyes were closed, lost in the memory of singing to his grandfather on humid Manila nights, both of them laughing and swaying like the world had no worries at all. By the second verse, the crowd was already rising to their feet. But for Marco, the moment of unexpected realization came when he opened his eyes and saw a woman in the audience silently crying. She wasn't crying because of him, she was crying because the song reminded her of her late father. Marco felt his heart jolt. Suddenly, he understood what his grandfather meant. Music wasn't about performing, it was about giving people pieces of themselves they thought they'd lost. As the song built to its emotional peak, Marco took a gentle step forward. His voice cracked, but not from nerves. It cracked with sincerity. "Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have." A wave of emotion rolled across the arena. Strangers held hands. Some hugged. Even Simon blinked more than usual, as if trying to stop something from slipping out. Then, unexpectedly, Marco did something that shifted everything. He lowered the microphone, eyes glistening, and whispered into the quiet room, "If you love someone, please remind them today." Life changes fast. The silence after that line wasn't empty. It was full of memories, regrets, hopes, and unspoken love. Marco continued the final notes with a softness that felt like a prayer. When the last chord faded, the world truly seemed to stop. No one moved, not even the cameras. Then, suddenly, boom. Simon Cowell slammed the golden buzzer. The entire room erupted. Gold confetti rained from the ceiling, swirling around Marco like a blessing from every soul he had ever sung for. Simon stood, and said, "Marco, you didn't just sing. You healed people tonight." Marco covered his face, overwhelmed, trembling with gratitude. But the emotional climax came not from Simon, not from the crowd, but from something far more personal. As Marco looked toward the side of the stage, he saw his grandmother, frail, small, wrapped in a simple shawl, standing with tears streaming down her cheeks. He had no idea the producers had flown her in as a surprise. She opened her arms, and he rushed toward her, sobbing like the child he once was. "Lola, I did it for you," he whispered. She held his face gently. "No, Anik, you did it for the world." In that moment, everyone watching, whether in the arena or on screens across America, felt something shift inside them. It wasn't just a performance. It was a reminder of what humanity looks like when someone chooses love over pride, giving over taking, compassion over fear. Marco didn't win AGT that night, not yet. But he won something far more powerful, the hearts of millions. His story rippled far beyond the stage. People called their parents, others forgave old friends, some simply decided to be kinder the next day. And as Marco walked off stage, hand in hand with his grandmother, he looked back at the golden confetti still floating in the air. It glowed like tiny suns, tiny hopes. From that night on, one message echoed across the world. A single voice, sung with kindness, can stop time, at least for the moments when humanity truly listens.